spell mandolin or something.
That is true. I had to look it up.
All right, well, why don't we begin our Bioclean Weekly Video Conference. Appreciate all of you as operators supporting this each week. And this is going to be our last week that we're going to do it every week, but moving forward, we're going to be scheduling these one time a month. So I appreciate the support, and I know we learned so much over the past 4 months, and hopefully we've just been able to incorporate a few of the ideas from the presenters that we've heard from into our, not only our lives, but our businesses as well. So it's been enjoyable, and I love, it's kind of been a highlight of my week, and I know a lot of you feel the same way. So one of the things that we like to do right away in the video conference is to hear about what our wins and our losses were for the week. You know, what's our biggest wins, and what's maybe the misstep that we had. So who would like to share theirs with us? Go ahead and unmute yourself and just speak up.
I wasn't going to talk because I talk a lot anyways, and you guys will be sick of me by the end of the day. But our big win, we just got a $50,000 contract washing oil rigs, and I like it.
Nice, that's sweet. That's a big win.
Mm-hmm.
Blaine, I see you're unmuted. What do you got?
Looks like we're getting good results from the new gentle detergents that we've come up with. So far, thumbs up on that one. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. We'll be talking about that more and making sure that all of you as operators are aware of that too. So yeah, that's a big win for us. I think for myself, biggest win for me this last week is we now have 2 new operators. We have a new operator in Bismarck, North Dakota. And then we also have an operator in the middle of Nebraska, in Kearney, Nebraska, and that's Tyler. And he's with us this afternoon too. So we're pretty pumped and excited to have a couple new operators to work with us and to add to our BioClean family. So that was my big win. Anybody else want to share any wins of the week? All right, no problem. Well, I look forward to our presenter today, Dan Clark, and to introduce him, we have a video to share.
He's here. Coming up next, I don't believe it, Dan Clark is here, the international speaker. No kidding. Achievers North America, Achievers Europe, both of them named Dan Clark one of the top 10 speakers in the world. That's where I was born. He's born. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He's a singer. You gotta be kidding. He's a singer, an athlete, a songwriter, a philanthropist, a screenwriter, an adventurer. He's everything. He's funny. He's inspirational. Hey, he's Dan Clark. He's changing the world one story at a time. Stay tuned.
The author of 21 books and a primary contributing author to the Chicken Soup of the Soul series, where one of Dan's world-famous stories was made into a film at Paramount Studios, starring the late Jack Lemmon. Dan's writing and speaking career began when he fought his way back from a paralyzing injury that cut short his football career. Zig Ziglar sponsored Dan into the National Speakers Association, and for 25 years mentored Dan to become one of the most sought-after speakers on the planet. Dan has headlined the largest stages in the world, working with Fortune 500 companies, Super Bowl champions, military leaders, and government rulers who continually seek Dan's thought leadership, counsel, and inspiration. In 2005, Dan was inducted into the National Speakers Hall of Fame. Dan's extraordinary life includes flying fighter jets with the Air Force Thunderbirds, catching 9.4 Gs, going Mach 2 at twice the speed of sound, racing automobiles at the Nürburgring, serving on the Olympic Committee, and carrying the Olympic torch in the 2002 Winter Olympics. Serving on the International Board of Governors Operation Smile, and soaring to the edge of space in a U-2 reconnaissance craft, where after a full day of training, accelerated to a classified altitude above 70,000 feet, and for 3.5 hours, gazed into the blackness of space, witnessing the breathtaking curvature of the Earth, and experienced a 15-mile high perspective on things as they really are. As CEO of the Art of Significance Leadership Development Corporation, Dan has interviewed and hung out with the most celebrated personalities of our time and has appeared on over 500 TV and radio programs, including Oprah and Glenn Beck, and on the cover of Millionaire magazine. But more important to Dan, and most significant of all, in 2012, Dan was named Utah Father of the Year. Truly a Renaissance man for all reasons, who will help you transform your life from success to significance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Dan Cluck.
So at this time, that's quite the introduction there. I'm impressed, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of those stories. Wow, it's pretty good. So let's give our attention to Dan.
It's been fun to just kick back off screen and listen to each of you kind of chime in and talk about your wins. And Nate, I hope you'll interrupt me about 15 times and talk more than me. I'll hold you to that, good brother. You know, I don't know how much of your business you actually conduct on the phone, where you actually have to contact someone before you ever know what they look like. And if any of you have ever had any telephone training, they ask questions like, can they hear you smile? So I meet Adam on the phone. I have no idea what he looks like. Now I see that he's about 11 years old. You've accomplished so much for being such a young chap there, good brother. And your hair, it hasn't moved since 1997. And I'm losing my hair here, and I'm growing.
Because that is when NSYNC started. I'm a Justin Timberlake fan, and that is when NSYNC was huge.
See, there you go. And you look just like him. This is going well. And you intimidate me because I'm losing my hair right here. I'm growing it in places I don't even need it. Not a fair trade-off. My only hope is that the hair in my right ear will grow long enough I can comb it up over the top of my head. Fake all of you out. You know, as Adam and I were talking, I got a real good feel that he loves you all. Isn't that a cheesy way to start our conversation? That he really does love what Bioclean Systems represents, because it's a family. And we're going to get into a little bit about my renegade maverick approach to team building. I've taken last place teams to Super Bowl champions and turned around struggling organizations. And one of the things that we always hear from people who come in and want to talk about team building is they try to get us to believe this acronym TEAM, team. They try to get us to believe that it means together everyone achieves more. And I suppose it does. But in my conversation with Adam, he is so on point with what has worked when I've had a chance to work with NHL teams and NFL teams and superstars and Olympic athletes. The teams that actually win and then continuously win, like Bioclean Systems has been doing for so many years with you as the operators, it's turning that acronym TEAM, T-E-A-M, together everyone achieves more, into family. F-A-M-I-L-Y, forget about me, I love you. So Greg, he chimes in, and he's so passionate and excited about this little gadget. He's so on fire about this new little widget that's gonna improve this and that. And my hat goes off to you, Greg. If everyone in our world could find that much passion in what they do and why they do it, it would validate the fact that inspired people don't have to be motivated. When I talk about leadership, you can't coach results, you can only coach behavior. If you're a sports team coach, you can't say to your players, go out and win. What the heck does that mean? If we're parents, we can't say to our children, go out and make responsible decisions. What the heck does that mean? If you're running a sales organization, if you're an operator and you have other operators who are working for you in your amazing company and your amazing lease agreement for your territory for Bioclean systems, you can't just say, go out and get more business. Go out and sell more opportunities. And to have one of you chime in and say, oh my gosh, my win was I just signed a $50,000 contract to clean oil rigs. That's so cool. But we can't afford to fall back and think that we can tell people what to do and they'll do it. They'll do it while we're there pointing our finger. But to be a champion athlete, it's what we do when the coach is not around that makes us a champion. To be a champion kid, it's what we do when our parents are not around. To be a champion operator, it's what we do when Adam doesn't have the binoculars, the GPS, conspiracy theory that he's watching every move and you better not make a mistake. So having said that, what I want to do, and as I've talked to Adam, is just share some experiences that have taught me, I think, some pretty interesting lessons in leadership, in hiring, in recruiting, if you will, in training, and making sure everybody feels like you're part of the family. And because there's 60 operators around the world, maybe 2 or 3 new ones now, maybe 62 or 63, according to Adam. A lot of the operators obviously are not on with this live call, and they'll be watching the recording later on, so we don't want to forget about them. I've never been to New Zealand. I spent 3 weeks in Australia, for anyone who's down under. My wife and I were part of a sailboat regatta crew. And we actually won 2 out of the 9 days in the Hamilton Island racing. It's a very prestigious regatta, and I want to go back to Australia. It's one of the coolest places on the planet because they're not politically correct. They're just correct. And they will tell you, thinking that they're actually complimenting you, they'll say things like, man, you don't sweat much for a fat guy. So they think that's a compliment, and I took it as a compliment, but I love their culture, which we're going to talk about culture. I love Canada. Who on this call is from Canada? I suspected it was you, Chad and Angela. I used to have an office, one of my offices in Oakville, Ontario. And to this day, I still speak in all 10 provinces of Canada. I've been to Newfoundland. I've been to Prince Edward Island. I know how to say Saskatchewan. And I've been to Rankin Inlet up in the Arctic. What part of Canada are you in, Chad?
10 minutes from Oakville.
No kidding. Where?
Yeah, we're in Milton.
Oh my gosh. And I'll be coming up there as soon as they waive the travel restrictions, and I love it. When I go to Canada, I love speaking in Western Canada, and I always start my speeches, bonjour, comment ça va, je suis très content d'être ici. And that basically pisses off everybody because they don't want to speak French once you get west of Calgary. Anyway, I love Canada. Nate, where are you?
Northern Michigan, Traverse City.
Oh yeah, what a beautiful
Thunderbirds come here every other year.
No, that's funny. I saw a bear on the road there one time. I mean, cruising into town, flying into town. It's an awesome place. Where are you, Blaine?
Northern suburb of Minneapolis. I work with Adam.
Oh wow! How long have you been in therapy?
Not long enough, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. You can plug in your shirt. That's cool. I want one of those orange Bioclean. Or to Greg's point, maybe we just get some lime green or whatever your color, your chemical is.
Yeah.
Who else? Where are you, Greg?
I'm right here in Minneapolis. Been here 52 years with the company.
I can tell by the way you say Minnesota.
Yeah,
North
sure, you
Dakota.
betcha.
Yeah, we have a new operator in North Dakota. I remember the first time I was in Minneapolis. It was January in the middle of a snowstorm. It was snowing sideways. I took a deep breath and my nostrils stuck together. I'm like, man, I'm a country singer, songwriter. This will make me sound like Willie Nelson. This is going better than I thought. I love all of Minneapolis. I love all of Minnesota. I told Adam my dad was at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and it's the culture of Minnesota that makes Mayo Clinic the finest hospital facility in the world. And I just pay tribute. Anytime I meet anyone from Minnesota, I love you, I honor you. And it is about your culture that's created this amazing society in which you live. So thank you, and I honor you. Who else is on the call that I can acknowledge really quick before we get rolling?
Talk to
Good.
Tyler.
Tyler, where did you go? I know what he just weighed in so Adam knew he was on the call, and now he's golfing. I don't mean to call you out, bro, but you can watch this later. This is cool. I get it. Anyway, let's talk. When Adam decided to show that video, I cringe. I feel like I'm at my own funeral. And the reason why it's okay to show that video is not because it's I love me time. It's because it referenced a couple of things that I wanted you to see a visual image of, one of which was when I had a chance to soar to the edge of space. So you saw me walk into my spacesuit, excuse me, and it went by so fast, you probably didn't pay attention to the reflection of the curvature of the earth in my space helmet. And I want to talk about that because Bioclean Systems, I'm on this call. I'm not getting paid. A lot of my professional speakers would say, why are you going to give an hour of your life to people you've never met, to an organization, and you're going to donate your time when we all could be doing something different? We're all investing our precious life right now to be together, and I don't take this lightly, and I appreciate you for joining us. But one of the things that occurred to me when I was talking to Adam is that Bioclean Systems gets it. They have that high level altitude vision of service before self, of making everybody feel important regardless of what part of what piece of the puzzle in Bioclean Systems you're currently in. As an operator, owner, as a recruiter, trainer, whatever the case may be, regardless of how small your operation is, how many trucks you have, or how many huge, you have a fleet of your own trucks taking care of other fleets. It doesn't matter. What Bioclean Systems has done is created a culture where in this COVID-19, in this coronavirus environment, this remote economy, they make sure that you still are connected and you still know that you matter. That Bioclean, excuse me, has got your back. That no matter what happens with the economy, you're still linked with the belief that when the water in the lake goes up, all the boats rise together. And so when I talk about sales, and I've worked with some of the greatest sales organizations in the world, I define sales as the transference of trust. It's the transference of trust. So is leadership, so is coaching, so is parenting. And what Adam has taught me just through our telephone conversation before I actually got to see his smile and mug is that you have this unwritten culture of trust where if you have a challenge, if you have something coming up in your lease agreement territory, as I call it, you can get on the phone and talk to one another. You don't even have to call Greg to find out. You don't even have to call Adam to find out. You don't have to call headquarters. You can call Nate and say, hey, bro, this is what's happening. Or this person wants to cancel our contract. Or how do we go out and land a $50,000 contract with this trucking company? And how cool is that you've established this level of trust where you're not competitors, you're collaborators, again, with the belief In family, forget about me, I love you. You're so proud and passionate, as Greg just displayed, about your Bioclean chemicals, biodegradable, the competitive advantage that you bring to the marketplace in your products and services. But what I want to talk about today is how we as individuals can create a competitive advantage that benefits the brand, Bioclean Chemicals, with the reference that you are the brand. That you are the brand. And let's dissect some of the elements of building your business and building and expanding the brand. You know, I'm the primary contributor and author of all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Sold over 400 million copies. And all they are is an anthology collection of short stories. And I'm going to share some stories today because I love telling stories. When we tune into the 10 o'clock news, we never remember the facts and figures. We remember the interpretation of the facts and figures. So if we really want to expand our business, what we have to do is become story sellers. Share more than just benefits and features of your products and why they're superior in the marketplace. When you believe that you are the message, when you're the same off stage as you are on stage, when you're the same out of your truck as you are in the truck, when people are watching you and they're not even your customers, they're potential customers, it's amazing how the sales process is underway 24/7. So in the law of attraction, which became famous because of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series and the movie The Secret, the book The Secret, I don't know if any of you have read it. Bob Proctor's the one that brought the law of attraction he illuminated it to the world, and he made it so mystical. A lot of us are like, yeah. But the bottom line definition of the law of attraction is we don't attract who we want. We attract who we are. We attract what we believe we deserve, which means if you're in the market right now to recruit someone to work in your operation, we don't recruit anymore. That's obsolete. We must attract the right people so that training turns into retaining. And the way we do that is to make sure that all of us, first and foremost, understand that we become the average of the 5 people we associate with the most. If you hang around with 5 broke people, you're going to become the 6th. If you hang around with 5 negative, whining people who actually believe that this is COVID-19 crisis, you're going to become the 6th. In my experience, my friends, crisis does not make or break the man or woman. It just reveals the true character within. Adversity is what introduces us to ourselves. No one will ever know how strong we are until being strong is our only choice. And as a family of Bioclean systems operators, owner-operators, if you will, you validate that by hopping on this call. Adam validates that by seeing the vision of having a weekly connection and now morphing it into a monthly connection to make sure we all remember that we become the average of the 5 people we associate with the most, even online. And in this remote economy, especially online. I've never met Greg. I'm telling you, bro, you fired me up. And I know you fired everybody else up. And you made a joke about, man, I see the building, and Adam chimes in, wait, it's just a repainted building. You know, my video introduction is obsolete. It says I've written 21 books. No, I've written 35 books. What's my point? I didn't say I've written 35 good books. I just said I've written 35 books. So we need to just call what it is, and be real like all of you have been as you chimed in this call. And I feel like I'm one of the boys, with all due respect, Angela. I feel like I'm talking in a locker room, talking in a football team meeting, and I'm going to share a story that you'll remember for the rest of your life. It's just such a cool object lesson that I've experienced so many times, and you'll get it so fast. But remember, if we become the average of the 5 people we associate with the most, if any of you from the rural areas, when you put a hard-to-catch horse in the same field with an easy-to-catch horse, most of the time you end up with 2 hard-to-catch horses. Remember, we're talking about the law of attraction, recruiting into attraction. When you put a healthy child in the same room with a sick child, most of the time you end up with 2 sick children. Moral of the story, to be disciplined, healthy, and significant, we must be willing to pay any price and travel any distance to associate with the significant, disciplined, and healthy. And in order for us to attract that kind of a person to work with you, to work with me, we must first be that kind of a person. So in this Corona pause and purge as I'm calling it, it's not a crisis. What we have to do is ask ourselves, are we becoming better today than we were yesterday? In this pause and purge climate, are we taking the time to look ourselves in the mirror and have that man in the mirror, that woman in the mirror experience and say, what part of me could I improve? Could I become a better communicator? Could Chad bone up on his French? Whatever the case may be, we have an opportunity to pause and purge. And as a songwriter, I love to use things that we remember. How about 3 E's during this Corona, during this pandemic? Now is the time for us to evaluate what's going on in our personal and professional lives. Evaluate all of those customers that are currently signed up with a different cleaning system that should be on your roster. You have the competitive advantage. And remember, a competitive advantage is never created by doing more than your competition. A competitive advantage is always created by doing what your competition is not willing to do. So think about it. And that doesn't mean that you're going to actually build a wash bay. Sometimes that's a bad idea. I don't know if any of you on this call actually invested in a wash bay, but I kind of smile because I relate it to the investment world. If you're trying to raise money and you get somebody to invest in you $100,000, that person usually says, I trust you, call me in a year and tell me how my $100,000 has gone. But when you take $10 from somebody, they call you every Tuesday and want to know how it's doing. So when you have a wash bay and somebody pulls his rig, his truck in there, you know exactly what I'm going to say. You're all starting to smile. Nate's nodding his head. They want it to be so perfectly clean as if you took a toothbrush to every single square inch. And I don't know about you, but I don't want that kind of drama. So for those of you who have wash bays, good for you. You deserve combat pay, triple your price. But if you're just going to get into what we all are talking about, operators with the trucks and doing our magic, we have to remember that we can actually go out and attract people who currently have contracts with other cleaning services, knowing that you are the message and inviting them into the Bioclean Systems family. And the way we do that, again, is to focus in on ourselves, to focus in on your personal and professional culture as an operator. What kind of a culture have you created that will attract the right people who will retain themselves because they know that they're on a championship team? Does that make sense? So let's just start with, how do we create a culture? Stay with me. Every culture, I've worked with most of the Fortune 500 teams, Fortune 500 companies. Every culture, Fortune 500 company, a small business owner, like you are, very successful small business owners, sports teams, our children's schools, and even in our families. Every one of these experiences has a culture. And the good news is that the culture in every organization is created with the exact same formula. Here it is. Every culture is created between the strongest behavior, the highest expectation, and the best behavior that the leader lives by, and the weakest belief, the lowest expectation, and the worst behavior that the leader tolerates. The operative words are lives by. I'd rather see a sermon preached than hear one any day. I'd rather you would walk with me than merely point the way. And tolerates. So let me just repeat. Every culture is created between the strongest belief, the highest expectation, and the best behavior that the leader lives by, and the weakest belief, the lowest expectation, and the worst behavior that the leader tolerates. So let's just tie it into our family for a minute without stepping on anybody's toes. This is a great example of how to focus in on what we can control and forget about what we cannot control. So as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, most of us are multitaskers. One of the things I would hope that you got from my video introduction was the fact that every single person that I've interviewed, all the biggest names, the most powerful, wealthiest people on the planet that were on that video, are only good at one thing. But you, because of the nature of this business, have to be good at almost everything. Then in the course of a day, because so many of you work nights and weekends and your employees that you're attracting into your operation are working weekends and nights, it requires a special kind of person who understands that we can't always be motivated, so we always have to be disciplined. We can't always be motivated, so we must always be disciplined. And so instead of being a multitasker, thinking I'm overwhelmed or you don't understand or I can't put anything else on my plate, I don't even have time to tune into this call, may I suggest that we start thinking as a juggler? You see, a juggler only controls the ball in his hand. Once he's let go of the ball, he's relinquished control. So why worry about it? So we just have to learn how to control what we can control. And that comes into culture creation and sustaining the high standard of excellence in behavior and attitude that we expect. Having said that, let's talk about it. The belief of the leader is what creates the leader. The belief of the leader is what creates the expectations, and it's the expectations that creates the behavior. And when we can mix and match and amalgamate our belief, our expectations, and our behavior so that everybody in your organization believes what you believe. Remember, the purpose of a leader is to grow more leaders who believe what you believe, not generate more followers. When you can get everybody in your organization to share the same belief, expectations, and behavior, you create what I call a culture of significant partner leaders, where everybody leads with and without a title, and they take themselves to the highest level of performance because it's self-accountability. Winning is personal. So they're the best version of themselves, not because it's expected by you, but because it's demanded of themselves. Does this make sense? So to help us understand how we control and create and control our culture, let me just invite you into my home. And I don't want this to sound so arrogant or pompous. Let me just share my own personal experience, open up my soul. So we have 4 children, 1 son, our oldest, and 3 daughters. And they were all about 2 years apart. So they were all kind of teenagers about the same time. And when I talk to groups of parents, I love to ask questions like, so how many of us parents actually try to choose our children's friends? And we all kind of grin and sheepishly go, yeah. What happens when we try to choose our children's friends? It forces them to have 2 sets of friends. Those they really hang out with, and those they feel comfortable enough dragging home for our approval. That's why we have so many mothers in tears when they find out their daughter was involved in this and they had no idea. That's why we have so many fathers in tears or ticked off when we had no idea that our son was involved in this or did that. So what we have to do is create a safe environment. Remember, the transference of trust, where we have non-judgmental friendship, unconditional love, and we invite people into our culture that we've created, and knowing that our culture is clear. It's based on this high belief, this strong belief, this high expectation, and this best behavior that the leader, the parent, the coach lives by, and the lowest or worst behavior that we tolerate. That's the key word. What are you tolerating in your home right now? What are you tolerating in your company right now? What are you tolerating in your culture when you try to attract the right person to become another one of your operators who represent more than just you and your good name, but Bioclean systems across the world? So, classic example. Our children were bringing their friends home, and we realized that we were raising our children different than somebody else. And we realized that we had no right to have a parent meeting where we invited all the parents of our children's friends into our home and said, okay, let's all agree on how we're going to raise our children exactly the same. That's never going to happen. We can't control that. What we could control is the standard of excellence, the culture that we created once they walked in our door, which first started with our children, the belief, expectations, and behavior, and then our children's friends and our adult friends. So with all due respect, when you come into our house, everybody quickly understood without preaching, they just quickly understood that we didn't tolerate any sexism, any racism, any bigotry. We didn't tolerate any vulgarity or any bad language. Nobody smoked in our house. Nobody drank in our house. And we actually kind of helped them understand the significance of please and thank you. Most importantly, with 3 daughters, no gossip, no drama. And I remember when my daughter's friends were sitting around downstairs in our family room and they started talking badly about a couple of girls who weren't there. Talk about a teaching moment. And I interrupted and I said, girls, please, no drama. We don't tolerate drama or gossip. And let me just put it into perspective, young ladies. If you're talking badly about someone when they're not here, as soon as you leave our home, every one of you is going to leave wondering what they're going to say about you when you're not around. And it immediately violates trust. So there was a teaching moment with a short little story that helped everybody elevate themselves, their expectations, their commitment to higher standard behavior when they were in our home. And when they left our home, it's like juggler. We can't control how they think or how they behave. What we had to do is inspire our children to know that this is our belief, this is our expectation, this is our behavior. Do you buy into that? How can I help you understand? So now we trust them to make the responsible decisions once they're out of our hair. Does that not apply to drivers who have the Bioclean systems on the door, who represent every single one of you? Because if any one of the drivers screws up, if any one of the drivers does something that is not up to your standard of excellence, your standard of performance, it reflects on the brand. It tarnishes every single one of you. And so really and truly, FAMILY, forget about me, I love you. So the quickest way for us to take ourselves to the next level so that we can actually exemplify the strongest behavior, the highest expectation, and the best behavior that we live by is to understand this object lesson I promised to share that works famously in team building. So I've worked with most of the teams in the National Football League. And I'm paid big money to go into a team meeting and say something that will inspire these elite athletes to take themselves to the next level. Now listen to how I said that. Remember, we can't coach results, we can only coach behavior. I can't get them to do anything more than what they decide to do. We know that. It intrigues me why we really believe that we have to, in the business world, we have to give a bonus to improve performance and increase productivity. In my experience in the military, and I've been downrange 8 times, Iraq, Afghanistan, going into harm's way to entertain, fire up the troops, talk about leadership, team building, and thank them for their service. What I know is that in the military, we give medals to those who are willing to sacrifice themselves so that others may live. And in the business world, we give bonuses to those who are willing to sacrifice others so that they may survive. Isn't that cool that Adam Backstrom, that Bioclean Systems is about you? It's not about sacrificing you for their own profitability. It's organizing these weekly calls, staying connected to make sure you know you are valued. you have a name, a face, a family, a connection, and that no matter what happens to the economy, BioClean systems will be there for you just as they are right now. They're not going away. Transference of trust. How cool is that? So back to the football team meeting. Come with me. When you walk into an NFL team meeting, there are 53 elite athletes who collectively represent over $105 million in annual salary. That's sick. So what do you say to them? Let's ask 3 questions. Can you motivate them with money? Anybody want to weigh in? Raise your hand. Do you think you can motivate them with money? Most of you are saying no. I agree. 78% of professional football players are bankrupt within 3.5 years after they retire. Money can't be a motivator because eventually you'll run out of money. Can you motivate them with benefits and bonuses? If you're interviewing someone through the law of attraction to join your team, and one of the first questions is, do I get any paid day vacations? What's my benefits package? It's the wrong person. There's so many more people out there who you can get to join your team, because remember, the purpose of a leader is to grow more leaders who believe what you believe, not generate more followers. Third question, can you motivate them with awards and rewards? Absolutely not. The good news is what motivates these 53 elite athletes is what motivates you and me. And according to Adam, and in my experience, you wouldn't have jumped on this call. And for those of you who are going to watch it, who are watching it after the fact on a recording, you're elite athletes. You think differently than anyone. That's why I said yes to Adam. My pleasure to participate with you, because I feel like I really am one of the boys. We think the same. We want the same. We're passionate about everything we do, just like Greg is, even though he jumped on in a bigger way than most of you did. I still see your smiles and your eyes and your nods. And I'm watching Nate look at his watch. He's like, how long is this guy going to talk? He stopped looking at his watch. He took it off. He's shaking me like, did it stop? My clothes have gone out of style just since Clark came on. That's funny. You don't think it's funny. At least Adam's laughing. So good news is, same thing that motivates these 53 elite athletes, the same thing that motivates you and me. Expectations. Now you know why I introduced the formula before I told the story. So we're in this NFL team meeting, 53 gajillionaires. As the meeting begins, I invite a captain of the team and the assistant coach to come to the front of the room. And they're standing in front of the 53 athletes holding a broomstick 12 inches off the floor. And before the meeting begins, I got the name of the most gifted and talented football player on the whole roster who can jump 38 inches high. And for the record, every one of the 32 NFL teams has at least one player on their team who can jump 38 inches high. You know how high that is? Without even getting a running start, no inertia, they just stand there and go, eat a Big Mac, drink a Diet Coke before they land. Dude. Julius Peppers played for the Ravens, then the Green Bay Packers, now back with the Ravens. He's a freak of nature. Defensive end. He can jump 38 inches high. J.J. Watt plays for the Houston Texans. He's bigger than me. He's 6'9", 295. I'm 6'3", lost 41 pounds, about 235. J.J. Watt has a 38-inch vertical leap. Tim Tebow, highest paid 4th string quarterback in the history of the NFL. He's my size. He's got a 38-inch vertical leap. Unbelievable. So I get the name of this superstar and I call him out by name. He's always sitting in the back row of the team meeting. Duh. And his reaction's always the same. Why are you wasting my time? Why did you wake me up? Don't you read my newspaper clippings? So I get his teammates to cheer him, clap him to the front of the room. Sure enough, it takes him 22 and a half minutes to waddle up to the front of the room, walks like he sat on something hot. Now a superstar prima donna is in front of his teammates, captain, assistant coach, holding a broomstick 12 inches off the floor, and I engage prima donna superstar in conversation. Hey, do you think you can jump over this 12-inch high broomstick? His reaction is always the same. Why are you wasting my time? Are you stupid? So I changed the question. Will you jump over that 12-inch high broomstick? His response is always the same. He pacifies me, skips over the bar, stares me down, so I stare back. And here's where the teaching begins. Why did you only jump 12 inches high when you and your teammates know you can jump 38 inches high? And his answer is always the same. Because that's all you asked me to do. How high is your bar? Only you know how high it is. Everyone with whom you live, everyone with whom you work, everyone with whom you recreate and perhaps worship knows how high your bar is because they see it every day. But only you know if you're pushing yourself to your ultimate capacity and potential as a human being in all 9 aspects of life, not just business. This has got to be more than a business connection, more than a business call. There are 9 aspects of life: physical fitness, mental, continuous education, spiritual, deeper spirituality. Where are you on that one, my friends? Religion is for those who are afraid to go to hell. Spirituality is for those of us who have already been there. How about emotional stability? How about family togetherness? How about financial literacy? Are you saving? Are you investing? What are you doing? And because we talked about the significance of belief, expectations, and behavior, what we have to do, and I ask this every day, especially in this corona pause and purge, are your beliefs strong enough, deep enough, and true enough to empower you to respond to rapid change? Because for those of the world, those in the world who are currently confused and scrambling and freaking out and lost, they did not have a strong enough belief system to sustain them and equip them to respond to rapid change. So if any of us still fit into that category, here's a chance. COVID's still not over. Corona pandemic's still not over. Here's a chance for us to really understand and challenge ourselves. Is our fun and recreation and is our charitable giving to round out those 9 areas of life? Are we the best we can be, the best versions of ourselves? Because in this Corona situation, my friends, the best sales tool we have is visibility, 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 service before self. Because when I soared to the edge of space at 70,000 feet, you see mapped outline, you see 2/3 of the state of California. At 80,000 feet, you see mapped outlines of America. And at 90,000 feet, you actually tear up and believe you can reach out and touch the face of God. With my twisted sense of humor, I'm up there going, looking at the curvature of the earth going, man, if we're the only ones here, this sure is a lot of wasted space. So for 5 hours, and you can Google it, it's kind of amusing. They put together a 15-minute documentary of my 5-hour excursion into space. Just go to YouTube, YouTube, Dan Clark, U2 spy plane, and you can see the whole kind of deal, the curvature of the earth, the whole deal. And what this whole experience taught me is what I learned when we landed. That everything we can take with us when we die, I had aboard with me on that aircraft. The most important of which is our memory. Did my life matter? Did I make a difference? And when you commit to that, just as I try to commit to that every day, it's amazing how recruiting immediately morphs into attracting. People want to be part of your culture. They want to be part of a first-class, industry-leading Bioclean system and chemicals. And the new stuff that Blaine mentioned, whatever the new chemical is, that's pretty cool. That Adam and the gang are epitomizing continuous growth, continuous improvement, which we need to be part of as human beings as well as operators. But if all of that makes sense, as we're rolling down in the last 10 minutes of our time together, maybe what we can do is just maybe share a story so that you understand that Bioclean Systems is more than just being able to buy chemicals under one network and get a killer deal on that group discount. It really is a family dedicated to service before self. So 2 quick stories, and then let me conclude by maybe lip syncing 3 Britney Spears songs so Chad will never be the same. Story number 1 out of the 2. So I played football for 13 years. And one day in practice, the dream ended. We had a tackling drill. Coach blew the whistle. Two of us ran into each other full speed. Only parts of our bodies that made contact. Lyle's helmet collided into my helmet. We were 15 yards apart in a violent head-on collision. My right shoulder was smashed into the cutting edge of my fiberglass pads, and we slammed to the ground. And when Lyle got off of me, my eye drooped. I had lost the speech. I couldn't talk anymore. My right side was paralyzed. My arm dangled helplessly at my side. Coach comes running over. Clark, you all right? What happened? He says, whoa, are you from Canada? I'm just kidding you. He said, you better, that was a joke, Chad, at least smile. He said, you better just lay there. I said, whoa. A doctor that was present on the field, he came over and he examined me. He pulls the coach aside. He says, Clark's got serious nerve damage. In fact, he might even have serious brain damage. Coach looks at him and says, how will we ever know? Nice guy. Finally, my eye went back to normal. My speech came back. I could talk again. But my right side stayed paralyzed. My arm dangled helpless at my side, and I stayed paralyzed for 14 months. I went to 16 of the very best doctors in all of North America. Yeah, I came up to Toronto. 15 out of the 16 doctors told me I would never get any better. And have you ever heard that? Anyone you love and care about ever heard that? And what happens if we believe it? We never get any better. And my life spiraled out of control, and I hit what I thought was rock bottom, which we're going to defuse in a moment. Now that I've recovered, 14 months of paralysis, 16 doctors. Now that I've recovered, the two most frequently asked questions are these. Why did I go to so many doctors? The answer is, excuse me, I kept going from doctor to doctor until I found one who believed I would get better. You see why I've spent most of our time talking about the belief? And may I interrupt? Before Corona hit, before the pandemic hit, and they shut everything down, we had a family dinner one Sunday, and we're in our dining room, all sitting around the dining room table. Our children have come in from out of town. We're empty nesters. They've invited some of their friends. We always play a family icebreaker game, Remember When. And everybody takes a turn, and one of our children says, I remember when I was 9 and this happened. Another one, I remember when I was 14 and this happened. Comes to my turn. Yeah, I remember when I came home from high school one time with a report card that had 4 F's and 1 D on it. My dad's response, son, looks to me like you're spending too much time on one subject. Yeah. And my mom thought I cheated. It was a tough family. We all have different memories that have created us into the men and women that we are. Suddenly we get to one of my daughter's friends. It's her turn, and she starts crying. She starts sobbing, and I said, are you okay? And she goes, no. She said, I'm 31 years old. I just got divorced. I just got fired from my job, and my mother was just diagnosed with breast cancer. And through her sob, she says, I've hit rock bottom. I don't know what you would say as a dad. I don't know what you would say as an operator. I don't know what you would say as a small business owner that's so successful. In that moment, I'm praying for a flash of inspiration. And thank heavens, I said, you know what? With all due respect, no one ever hits rock bottom. We hit rock foundation. We hit rock belief. We hit the baseline core values on which we were raised. And in the corporate world and the business world in which we all work and live, when any of our organizations, when you as operators feel like you're hitting a bump in the road or the economy goes south like it has for all of us in every one of our countries, our organizations do not hit rock bottom. They hit rock foundation. They hit the baseline governing principles on which they were built. So again, in this pause and purge, can we just evaluate what's going on, eliminate the negative beliefs, the limiting beliefs that are holding us back, that remind us we might not get any better. May we actually understand that while so many are trying to run back to normal, that we will have the guts and courage to stop and say, what part of normal is worth running back to? And then take time to elevate our mindset, elevate our belief, elevate our behavior to make sure we all come out of this better versions of ourselves, which attract the right people into your organization. I guarantee, instead of recruiting and trying to retain, we turn recruiting into attraction. and training into retention, it's amazing how everything else takes care of itself. So having said that, let me share what happened. The second most frequently asked question I'm asked since I recovered from my injury is, why did I stay paralyzed for so long? It's because I was asking the wrong questions. I was asking the doctors how to get better when I should have been asking myself why. And once we answer why, figuring out the how-to becomes clear and simple, not easy, but clear and simple. Why have you chosen to affiliate with Bioclean Systems? Why have you chosen to be one of the 60 or now 62 or 63 operators? Why has Greg chosen in 52 years to affiliate with this local business that allows him to make a long-lasting difference? Using the metaphor that I learned as I went to your website, that every single day you show up to clean off the past, to prove that no matter what your past has been, you have a spotless future, to clean off the dirt, to clean off the grime, and have a brand new day. How cool is what you do for a living that reminds you and your family every single day that the best is yet to be, that everything's going to really be okay, that we can recover if we stop feeling sorry for ourselves as a victim belief and start changing that and pivoting to what is possible. Last quick story, if I have your permission to go a couple of minutes over. Is that okay, Adam? I wanted to accentuate service before self as a brand, as a family, as a team, as a group of operators. And part of the agreement I had with Adam jumping on here is that when we finally can get together again in live events and have some belly-to-belly time, that he'll bring me in so I can actually meet so many of you in a national convention, and we can laugh, break bread, and we can really cut through the clutter and talk about the great principles of success that we all know work, but we just have to remind ourselves about. For example, if you get off this call and spend the rest of your time as an operator, as an owner, as a leader, trying to figure out your strategic direction, talking about, okay, where are we going? Where do we need to be? We'll never change. You'll never change. We'll never actually become better today than we were yesterday. What we have to answer every single day, and I want to conclude by answering this question, what are you going to do right now? Or a better question, where are you right now? It's like my Aunt Lucy. When she was 63 years old, she started walking 5 miles every day. Now she's 91 and we don't know where she is. I think that's funnier than you did. We laugh, but it's the number one limiting belief that holds all of us back. Where do we need to be? What's our strategic direction? No, we have to answer, where are you right now? It's like ordering an Uber ride that requires that we enter in our current location. And if we lie about where we are, the directions won't work. What is your belief right now in all 9 categories of life? And where do we go? So let me reiterate one thing to set up this story. Remember, competitive advantage is not created by doing more than your competition. That's not how you're going to build your business in this pause and purge. And it's definitely not about, teaching or selling your benefits and features and your superb products. That's part of the equation. But we've got to turn every sales pitch into a serve pitch, which means we commit to doing whatever we can right now and every right now with every customer, with every truck in the fleet. We have to control the ball in our hand. We have to control what we can do right now in a service before self mentality. Are you with me? Here's the story. And when you have me back, Adam, I got so many stories and so many jokes. We're going to have a great laugh, maybe even a great cry. I can't wait to meet you clowns face to face, belly to belly, so that we can actually take each other to the next level. Clowns is an affectionate term we use in the NFL, sorry. Here's the story. My dad battled cancer for 6.5 years. And for some reason, I wanted to be by his bedside when he took his last breath, and that didn't happen for me. I was out of town. I live in the mountains of Utah. By the way, anybody on the call from, I guess Michigan is the Midwest, right? Yeah, they think they're the Midwest. Midwest, I think of Kansas, Nebraska, whatever, but Michigan, unless you get way up into Traverse where there's a few little hills, no mountains. But I live in the Rocky Mountains. So every time I come to the flatlands of the Midwest, I just laugh. I'm like, Nebraska, Kansas, parts of Michigan, it's so flat, you can actually sit on your front porch and watch your dog run away for 3.5 days. It just cracks me up. So I'm out of town in Seattle, Washington for 2 days to make 2 speeches to 2 large trade associations downtown at the convention center. I'm staying out of town at the Seattle Airport Marriott Hotel. It's Friday morning, October 12th. I've showered, I've shaved, put on my coat, put on my tie. I'm ready for the day. Phone rings. I think it's my ride downtown to the convention center. So I pick up the phone and I almost flippantly say, I'll be right there. But for some odd reason, I just stood there. 15 seconds of silence later, my younger brother's voice pierces the quietness of the call. Danny? I said, what's up, Paul? He said, Dad died this morning at 7 a.m. I said, whoa. And I sat down on the edge of my bed and the tears just started to fall. Let me interrupt. I'd give anything to have my dad back one more day. It's too late. I have regrets and I don't wish regrets on anyone. I'm a songwriter, written some hits, got some gold records in country music. Some of you would really appreciate 2 of my biggest hits. Had I shot you when I met you, I'd be out of jail by now. Yeah, that's a tearjerker. My wife ran off with my best friend and I'm going to miss him dearly. That's another favorite. But one of my most serious songs I wrote about my sweet dad, it used to get a lot of radio play, it was called Special Man. Lyrical hook, any male can be a father, but it takes a special man to be a dad. That's my dad, I love him. I want you to get a glimpse into the relationship I had with him. Shocking news. I'm an author. My favorite interview was always with an elderly person, elderly meaning someone older than me. And they will always remind us they do not have regrets for things they did do. They only have regrets for things they did not do. Will you, after you hang up with this call, will you ever, not if we focus in on what are we right now? What can we do right now with what we have in a service before self mentality? So I said to my brother, how's mom? He said, she's all right. I said, give her a big hug and a kiss for me, will you please? Tell her I'll call her as quickly as I can. And then he asks me the gajillion-dollar question. What are you going to do, Dan? I said, well, Dad and Mom have spent an entire lifetime teaching us to keep our promises, to keep our commitments. I said, I'm going to go speak. That's what Dad would want me to do. I said, I can't imagine what it would be like to be a meeting planner with 90-minute slot to fill 3,500 people in the audience and not have the speaker show. I don't want to leave anybody hanging. I don't think any of you would either. I said to my brother, so I'm going to go speak. I'm on my way right now anyway. And then I'm going to spend the night and I'm going to speak on Saturday. And then I'm going to hustle home. God knows I need your support. Hopefully I can give you some of mine. I hung up the phone with my brother and I sat there in my hotel room and I openly wept like a wee child. Clearly my dad, my hero, gone. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time it is my ride. I tell him I'll be right down. I go into the washroom, I splash some water in my face, try to freshen up to the best of my ability. I leave my hotel room and I get on the elevator. And as the elevator doors start to close, the corner of the bellman's cart nudges its way through the opening and they bing, back open. And on the elevator comes this way overzealous psycho bellman. I'll never forget him as long as I live. He's pushing this runaway cart onto the elevator, woo-hoo, which forces me back to the right rear corner of the elevator. And I assume the elevator position. Doors close and we start going down. He is relentless. Whoa, did you see the beautiful sunshine? I've lived up here in Seattle, Washington, 15 years, rained every single day. You must have brought the good weather with you. How are you doing? I said, I'm fine. You know when someone's been staring at you for a while and you don't even have to get eye contact, you can just feel it, kind of sense it. All of a sudden he says, hey, mister, how you doing? I said, I'm fine. He says, no, you're not. You're not fine. I can tell you've been crying. I said, yeah. I said, I just found out my dad died this morning and I'm really sad. He said, whoa. Elevator comes to the lobby, doors open up. He goes his way. I meet my ride. He drives me downtown to the convention center. I'm introduced and I make my speech. I had to dig deeper than I'd ever dug in my whole entire life to make that speech, but you can if you think you can. You got to rise to the occasion. Think about it, gents and Angela. Under pressure, we don't rise to the occasion. We fall to the level of our training, which means under pressure, pressure is not something that's naturally there. It's created when you question your own ability. And when you know what you've been trained to do, there's never any question. There's never any pressure. That's why we train and practice so hard. I got to the end of my speech and I said to the audience, I'd like to conclude with a little song from one of my albums. And I said, the reason why I want to sing this little song is because my dad died this morning and it's the first time he's ever heard me sing it in public. And again, I dug deeper than I ever dug and maybe sang the song better than I'd ever sung it. I concluded my speech and I had the driver take me to the Seattle Aquarium. Am I now a hypocrite? Have we not been on air for an hour in this Zoom call celebrating facing our fears and getting up and going again and overcoming our paralysis physically and emotionally? And now I'm saying, I can't handle it. Give me a cocktail. Let me run from my pain and my fear and my reality. No. I had the driver take me to the Seattle Aquarium to create a meeting. You see why I said yes to Adam and jumping on this call and why I honor all of you for investing in yourself? Spending an hour of our lives that we'll never get back again. Because when we can escape the deadlines of work and the distractions of family and ask better questions to get better answers and laugh a little bit, maybe feel, maybe challenge our belief systems, which I've been trying to do a little bit. There's so much benefit in that. We raised our 4 children with a couple of mantras, one of which the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. And that's what this call is about. And I honor you, Adam, for your vision. We love you. We admire you. We respect your leadership. And as I said, I can't wait to meet all of you guys belly to belly. So having learned lessons like pain is a signal to grow, not to suffer. Once we learn the lesson, the pain teaches us, the pain goes away. In other words, in life, there's no mistakes, only lessons. Having learned that lesson and those other lessons, I had the driver take me back to the Seattle Airport and Marriott Hotel, where each of you come into my story and each of you come into our hour together here on the Zoom call. I walk into my hotel room and there on the dresser of drawers is a basket of fruit. And it's not your basic basket of fruit that's been delivered from the hotel gift shop. We've all seen these little color cellophane, little bow, little sterile stamp card. Thanks for staying with us, Ralphie. They never get our names right. This was the coolest gift I'd ever been given. It was a broken, smushed basket. One side was completely caved in. It looked like it was someone's second thought, maybe after hours, no resources available, but they still wanted to make a difference. Can you all relate? I could see this hotel employee walking through the hotel lobby. They look in the garbage bin. Oh, whoa, that's too good to throw away. Adam will be really proud of us. Do more with less. They retrieved it from the garbage bin and took it to my room. Obviously, the person who delivered it was into presentation because they turned the broken, smushed part of the basket towards the wall. Whoever delivered it obviously walked past the big fake tree in the lobby, yanked off one of those fine plastic rubberized leaves, stuck that leaf in front of the broken, smushed part of my basket. In my basket of fruit was a tomato and a big giant carrot and a handwritten card that said, Mr. Clark, I'm sure sorry your dad died. I'm supposed to get off work at 5 o'clock. I've asked to stay on all night long so I can be here just for you. Room service closes at 10 o'clock. The kitchen has agreed to stay open all night long so they can be here just for you. If you need anything, call me and ask for James, signed, the bellman in the elevator. What is my point? Obviously, Bioclean Systems under the direction of Adam and all of you as equal participants in leadership represent the brand because you are the brand. And you truly, in every sense of the word, are a family. Bioclean obviously has your back. They want you to stay connected with that transference of trust, knowing no matter what happens, up or down with the economy, or whenever the full recovery occurs, you are together. And when you understand that when the water in the lakes, the 1,000 lakes of Minneapolis, of Minnesota go up, all the boats rise together. As a Bioclean system family, God bless each of you. Thanks for flattering me and staying on for an extra 11 minutes. Adam, I turn it back to you. I can't wait to meet all of you in person. You all have a great day.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was really inspirational, and appreciate you teaching us so many valuable lessons that we can apply to ourselves as leaders and also incorporate into our businesses. I think one of the things that I took from it was we're not thinking about recruiting, we're thinking about attracting, and how you kind of broke that down for us. But there was many things, so I'm appreciative that you made some time to be able to present to our group. I think there might be a couple questions. Would you be willing to field like 2 questions?
Yeah. No, I feel bad that I went over a little bit, and
that's all right. I think this being one of my favorites, we can go long. I'm not worried about it. So if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask Dan, why don't we take like a couple minutes, maybe just a few questions before we do our operator spotlight.
Chad, you got that smirk on your face like, I'm going to yank Clark's chain. Could you start over with hello, Dan?
Dan, I don't have a question. I got to watch the replay like 10 times to absorb it all in the first place. But I just wanted to say I really appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for taking your time out of your day.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Greg.
Hey, I got a question.
Uh-oh, be nice.
Do you just sing, or do you play guitar or a musical instrument?
Depends on who you ask. My voice is really raspy now. I sound like I've been smoking 4 packs of filterless Camels a day. I recorded a lot of music back in the day. I love writing songs. You know, how can I miss you if you won't go away? I'm a real deep thinker. Yeah, I'm a guitar player. Why are you?
Anyways, I raised my kids with country music, and we all play fiddle and mandolin and guitar and piano and every instrument there is. And we used to travel all over the country and do shows. You know, when the kids were little, they were champion fiddle players. But so I was just wondering.
So what's your instrument?
Fiddle. I play fiddle and mandolin. So.
Wow.
So anyways, yeah, but you just sing. You don't play any instruments, huh?
No, I play the guitar. I play the piano well enough to write a song, but not well enough to perform it. People would boo. Played the trumpet for a few years when I was a youngster. So my motivation there was I thought it would make my lips swell up and make me a great kisser. It didn't work, so I stopped playing the trumpet as quickly as I could.
Well, I was a good enough kisser before, so I didn't have to worry about
That's just wrong. Too much information, man. Come on, man.
All right, I'll let you get on with some more important questions.
No, that was an awesome question. You know why? The question of most people don't know this since you brought it up, Greg. And we can talk about this in another day. I could take you into my recording studio and, play the piano to make a demonstration. Most people, when we're asked how many notes are there in music, most people only say 7, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They only count the major notes. One of my better songs, it was a rhythm and blues ballad, and it's called Pebble in the Shoe. Jackson Hole, Wyoming has a 14,000-foot peak called the Grand Teton. When you have a dream to climb that mountain and you don't summit the first time, you have to realize it wasn't the big giant boulders in the path that kept me from the top of the mountain. It was the pebble in the shoe. It's the small things in our lives that matter. And so when someone says, how many notes are there in music? You don't just count the 7 white notes, you count the 5 black notes as well. There are 12 notes in music, and every single song ever written was written with the same 12 notes. I don't know if you know that. So the only difference between one song and another song is the order in which those 12 notes fall and the timing and spacing in between the notes. So the question of the day is, what's the difference between a hit songwriter and a lousy songwriter? They have access to the same 12 notes. What's the difference between a great operator and a lousy operator? You have access to the same truck, the same chemicals, and the same system. What's the difference between a great banker and a lousy banker? They have access to the same economy and the same interest rates. I drive 45 minutes one way to bank, and never once have I ever asked what the interest rates are on my loans. If money becomes the topic of conversation, it means the presentation is weak and the relationship is non-existent. So the answer to all of this same question, what's the difference between a hit songwriter and a lousy songwriter? The answer is passion, creativity, and imagination. The answers are in the box. So when I meet somebody like Greg, and I know you're a musician, we have to remember, we do not learn critical thinking skills through math and science. We learn critical thinking skills through the arts and through music. That's why I had a publishing deal with BMG Sony for all those years in Nashville, and I'd go every 5.5 weeks, because songwriters and musicians clearly are some of the smartest people on our planet. So that tells me a lot about you, Greg. And all of us need to learn what you just taught us and reminded us about, of the significance of why the song remembers when. Why does music move us? Why is it a universal language? And the reality is because we all connect at that level. Message for operators. How can we create that connection level, knowing that reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action? Thanks, Greg, for bringing that up. I'm sorry I went off on it again, but that's a cool place that all of us can connect. And you just helped us learn a little bit more about passion, creativity, and imagination. An extraordinary person is one who triggers that in others. So together we rise. So that's the purpose of the call and the purpose of Adam.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. That is great. Well, if you want to stick around, and we're going to interview Nate right now with Northern Lightning. Each week we do an operator spotlight. So this week we're going to be spotlighting Nate. So when we think
Now
about,
I feel bad, Nate. I gotta jump off. I got another call in exactly 3 minutes. So I am so sorry, but
Oh, you're missing out.
I know, man. Put on the sunglasses. Work it, baby. Work it.
You got it.
Bye, thanks.
Bye, Dan.
Thanks all. We'll see you.
Thank you very much.
all right. Well, very good. Well, now at this time we'll interview Nate. He's first off, he's been doing some work around the shop there. What kind of things have you been doing? What's on the horizon over there at Northern Lightning, and what's your favorite part about your shop right now?
Uh-oh.
No, he's just logging on there. Now you're good. I unmuted you.
So you wanted to do a walkthrough, right?
Yeah. Let's check it out.
Okay. So this is my office, which is really not that impressive. But it's a nice space, private, quiet. This is a operations manager. He's gone home for the day, and you can see the TV here. We keep a scoreboard, so the guys can see their metrics and stuff, and how we're doing for the week, our revenues, and all our targets. And everybody can just check in and be on the same page. So that's something that's up when Kyle's here. So my favorite thing that's new. Oh, there's my little girl. Here's our office girls. Hi, ladies. Hi. The favorite thing that I like is actually this little entryway, because it's very professional. We can have new hires. We can have vendors. Everybody come in and check in here. So to me, it's a really nice spot and space.
That is really nice to have something like that. Now, is this in the same location you were at before you just remodeled, or is this a whole new building?
No, this is the same building. We've been here about 4 years, conference room. I was going to do Zoom off the TV there, but it didn't work out this morning. So it's the same building, but we just painted and stuff. With Corona, everybody was gone. So you can see we're only halfway through.
Yeah.
They're still working. We have a nice kitchen for the guys, and Juliana does a really nice job getting snacks and whatnot for all the crew. So we keep that stock, waters and stuff. But here's a cool thing. You can see this half hasn't even been started.
Sure.
But this room here, we're actually putting a gym in for our crew, because everybody through Corona, nobody was able to go to the gym anymore. So that was one of the big complaints. So that's something that we're adding. That's the next project is that room there. So
that reminds me of something that Dan talked about. We want to attract new employees, and that's a good way to attract. You're creating a nice culture there for your staff.
Yeah, it's that, and it's it gives the guys a little bit more that they can't get somewhere else. So we hire labor positions, entry level positions. So I can't pay guys $50 an hour, but I can dedicate this spare office for them to work out and have some healthy habits. So But yeah, so here's the warehouse. Most of the trucks are out for the afternoon. Another cool thing we have, I don't know if a lot of you guys have this, I'd imagine, most of you don't, is we actually have a propane filling station right there. So we can fill our trucks at any day or time. So it seems like, you know, it used to be that the trucks would always be empty on Saturday night and nobody could come fill you on Sunday. So we did that, and that was kind of a nice perk.
That is a good idea.
It didn't cost us anything, and we got a cool customer out of it. Here we got some safety stuff like the eye wash station and shower, and then just another bathroom in here. And then our parts room's pretty neat. Lights are automatic, so I just walk in here, lights pop on. So we've got all kinds of goodies from Fastenal and Snap-on. Kevin keeps, you know, enough electrical and all the, you know, the basic filters and whatnot. So we have the majority of our parts here. So is there anything else you wanted to see in particular there, Adam?
No, I think that looks really good. You want to show us your pre-wash and soap tanks in that area?
Yep. So everything's color coded. The drum kits that you guys provide, the logo or the sticker's black on the K1 or the K2, and it's red on the K1. So we just kind of stuck with that. 2 tall tanks here are just RO water. So it's fresh water, comes off the pump there on the wall, and then it filters a couple spots in the building. So, yeah.
Perfect. Very nice.
So these pumps are really nice. I think you guys are selling these now.
Yes. Yep.
Mag drives. So we really love those. So. And then we keep a small collection of a little bit of other stuff over here. You know, so some drum.
Get too far away from your Wi-Fi.
Some gentle kits. And again, everything's always coded. Oh! There we go. In any event, if that's all you want to see there at the shop, I'm good with that.
That's beautiful. I like that. It's a nice shop, and it's nice to be able to spend some of that time during this, what did he call it? The pause and purge.
Pause and purge, yeah.
Pause and purge. You're doing some things around your shop to improve the culture for your people and even for yourself. You know, you're investing wisely in your shop there. So that's great. Appreciate you sharing that and giving us a little tour.
Yeah,
hey, Nate, one suggestion, Nate. Are you listening, Nate?
I hear you.
One suggestion, what we did here is that we renamed our toilets. They're no longer the John. We named them Jim because it sounds so much better if we say we went to the gym this morning.
Fair point.
Fair point. Very nice. So, Nate, how long have you been in the wash business?
We got started in 2009.
Okay. And when did you start using Bioclean systems?
That one's muted.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yep. When did you start using Bioclean systems?
In 2009, we took the first year, we washed everything, houses, decks, concrete, kitchen hoods. It didn't really matter. And I used to tell people I'll wash a dog if it'll sit still and somebody will write a check. I really don't care. But, you know, it was like survival mode for the business, you know, that very first year that we took the plunge. I came out to get Bioclean. Blaine would remember this. My wife was pregnant and she said, there's absolutely no way you're going to Minnesota until after we have this baby. And so the next of it, after we had our first son, I drove out to Minnesota on our anniversary. She was cool with me leaving on our anniversary, but not until after the baby came. So that was in 2010. And then exactly 4 months to the date, I was back out in Minnesota again, getting my first truck.
Nice. Very good. So how has the system helped you in your business?
It's entirely duplicatable and consistent. So like I can train a guy, you know, on day one and they can get the results that we're after. They might not do it in the speed or as efficiently as somebody that knows what's going on, but the absolute duplicatability is just unmatched.
Why does that benefit you?
Because I want to build a scaling company. You know, I'm not trying to be just me. You know, there's a lot of contractors out there and that's cool if you want to be an owner operator, but for me to scale, I have to be able to duplicate and have consistent results across the board. So.
Very nice. And I think, when we think about new operators, that's kind of the operators we look for, are ones who are ready to scale, who are ready to go to the next level, who are leaders and want to train new leaders within their business. So that's really nice. As far as some of the biggest things that have helped you become successful, what have been a few of them?
I haven't really done, even if you look at the last 5 minutes in the shop, I haven't really done anything that's all that very smart on my own. I've completely copied and stolen information from other successful businesses. I didn't come up with the bulk tanks, Greg did, but that was a good idea, so I got them. And I didn't come up with the PTO trucks, Greg did, so I got it. And I didn't come up with the GPS systems that we use, somebody else did. So I got, I duplicate other people's success, and I don't have to be that smart, but it comes off that I am. So.
Very nice. Yeah. And that's one of the benefits about being part of the Bioclean network, is being able to help each other out in those situations. What's the biggest thing you wish you had learned earlier in your business?
Give up more control. So I micromanaged a lot in the beginning, and I had to just, I knew every single truck at any given job site that got missed. And it was too much. It was just, I should have learned earlier, hire help and, trust that they can do 80% of what you can do, then they're doing good.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a tough lesson for us to learn. So good job at figuring it out now.
Yeah.
So who's your worst customer and why?
We don't typically keep a lot of bad customers. If they're not going to work out, they're not going to work out. But I guess there's a couple smaller, high need customers that are less than ideal, but they kind of work out. But, we've had customers we just disagree with, and I don't have any problem saying it ain't going to work out and walking away from someone. So the only one I could think of is like Ennis, and it's just because she has a very particular list of trucks she wants washed, and she emails me, texts me, and calls me 7 times modifying that list before wash weekend. So
yeah, that can be difficult to do.
That one's annoying, but I'm charging her like $50 a tractor, so I put up with it. And it's a really great company. It's just that one minorly annoying thing. So.
Yep. Yeah, something you just have to deal with. So
yeah.
All right. And in your area, you probably have a lot of customers, but who is that one customer you're looking to get?
So there's this excavating company not far from me. They've got about 20 gravel trains. So it's a big company, and I can't get him to say yes. I can't get him to say no. I sent him socks and with a little handwritten note that said, just trying to get my foot in the door. I cannot make any ground with this guy. So he won't even let me do a demo. He's like, come back some other time. And so he'd be like the number one, not because it'd be like the biggest or the best or the most profitable, just because it
just one you want. It sounds like you're doing your due diligence to get it. It's only a matter of time before you break them.
I hope so.
Well, very nice. Well, I appreciate so much for you taking your time to show us your updated shop there, checking that out, and then helping us understand kind of where you came from, or some of the challenges you dealt with, and then how you've gotten to where you are now. So appreciate your time there, Nate.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right. Well, that was a busy video conference, and I appreciate you guys hanging around a little bit longer. And again, this one is going to be posted on our page, but then I'm also going to put this one on our Facebook page too. I'm going to make sure I rewatch it and encourage the rest of the operators to do the same. So we'll be having the video conference now once every month instead of every week. So we'll be doing that in August. I have a few different speakers lined up that are really good, and look forward to those upcoming ones as well. So to conclude, I really appreciate the support you guys give us, and appreciate you being able to be on our video conference today. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.